Which is fine. That'll get us through. Yeah. So, but you know, those are good.
I think we're good.
Just me.
Why don't you say hello to everyone real quick? Or
Do what? Just set it up?
yeah, just say hello.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you can see what.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming today. What we have heard back and forth from professional development. Oh, by the way, I'm Kim Shirk. I work in the HR office. Do a little bit with professional development, which is why I'm here today. Excited to have you guys here. Those of you that are joining via live stream, thanks for doing that. We're excited to have you here. What we've heard consistently with the professional development committee as we've generated ideas to share with other people is that some technology updates would be really grateful for that. So due to that, we're going to try this Technology Thursday thing and see if we can get some interest behind it and then kind of have some ongoing updates. Obviously, you can always reach out to the help desk with any questions that you have for one-on-one conversations, but we thought that presenting some of this might be helpful. So any takeaways?
I will. Hi, everyone. I am Amy with the help desk. Today, I'm going to go over some pieces of Microsoft. We're going to talk about OneNote, Sway, Forms, and Teams. First, getting to all of these things is going to go through the same path. You're going to start at the hub. You're going to click the Office 365 link to get to your Outlook. And then from Outlook, you'll click on the waffle. And you'll see the apps menu. And from there, you can get to OneDrive, you can get to your OneNote, you can get to Teams, you can get to Sway, and you can get to Forms. You just have to pick which one you want to use today. We are going to start with Microsoft OneNote. Microsoft OneNote is a virtual notebook. It can be synced and updated anywhere that there's an internet connection. It can be accessed across multiple devices, so you can get to it on your computer. You can get to it on the desktop. You can use the web if you're on a computer that's not your own, or you can use a mobile app. You would download that from your device's Google Play Store for Android or the Apple App Store for iPhones, iPads, anything like that. You can see the desktop app shown here, and then on the web again, it's in that apps menu. If you're on a computer, there are going to be two versions that come up if you search. The first one is going to be, and it depends which one, they seem to switch places. There's just OneNote, which is the application. It's the one that Microsoft is going to be using going forward, so it'll be the most up-to-date, it'll have the most updated features, and it'll be consistently getting new items as Microsoft makes changes to their applications. It'll look the same regardless of where you're using it. If you're on a Windows computer and then have to switch to a Mac, it'll look the same. If you are using your phone that day, it'll look the same. It's very consistent. For OneNote 2016, not all computers are going to have it. It is part of the 2016 suite of Microsoft applications. So once you upgrade to a newer version, you won't have this anymore. It will be on almost all the SCC computers right now. The appearance looks entirely different. I'll get to that in a little bit, but the functions itself are going to be exactly the same. Some of the OneNote's basic features, obviously notes. You can do freeform drawing with a pen or with your mouse. You can do screen clippings, audio recordings, file attachments, almost anything you can think of, you can stick into OneNote. So from there, let's take a look. So this is an example I've started with. Within OneNote, you'll have your notebook. Think of it as a binder. And within the binder, you're going to have different dividers. These are going to be your sections. In this case, I have a couple here that I use. For today, we're going to look at the presentation. Then from there, you're going to have pages. You can think of those as your notebook papers that you put in. You can add them, remove them, put them in different positions as you need, and pretty much just customize it to whatever you want to use it for. You can do the text notes, as I show here. You can also draw, as I mentioned. You can see the bar looks familiar compared to some of the Windows applications you may have used already. And then you can do your drawing if you'd like, anything you want. It follows the same formatting as Word, so you can do bold, italic, underline. It lets you do bulleted lists, numbered lists, indentations. It's very, if you can work with Word, you can do this. It's the same. It has a feature called tags. Tags you can use to bring attention to your comments. You can use it to bring attention to notes. I personally use it a lot for to-do lists or tasks. For here, as you can see with the task, I gotta move back to my text here. You can see task boxes, which when it's done, you can check mark. For these, they will continue to make your boxes for you, so you don't have to go through and do it for every single item. And it will continue to do that for as long as you need to. It also includes additional tags, so you have a lot of options if you want to mark any sort of type of information, books to read, movies to see. For example, here I put an important item, or if there's a question, or if you need a section that you just want to highlight later. There's a lot of options. Again, it's very customizable. You can also move your text around if you see these boxes showing up. So if you decide something needs to be moved, all you need to do is click it and drag it, and it'll go where you want it to go. All right, I lost my TV in the back, just as a side note. It's restarting. Well, all right, so moving on. Can you guys still see it? Yep. The stream? Okay.
Hasn't stopped yet.
Okay, cool. You can use it to insert files and images. So, for example, they give you all of these items. There's tables you can put in if you'd like, and it'll put them in here for you. You can do pictures. I don't have an example of one of those on this computer. You can do stickers and put pretty much anything you want, again, in here. If you have a file that you want to put in to share with either students, staff, anything like that, you can insert those files directly, and they will go directly into your notebook. Sometimes it'll take a while to attach. That's okay. That's normal. As you can see, it's still pending here. There it goes. Additionally, for PDFs, this is just the file. But if you'd like the whole PDF, the whole thing to show up, you can choose to insert it as a file. A PDF file printout. And it will post the actual PDF instead of just the file. So that's going to be an option that you can use as well. OneNote does have some really great resources for instructors, students, and administrators. There's this website, it's OneNote for Teachers, and it's going to have an overview, it's going to have ideas, it has the scenarios, and then it also has options for students and for administrators. The videos are not very long, so it doesn't take a lot of time commitment to take a look at it. This overview for teachers is only about 2 minutes or so. So if you sit down and take a look at that, it'll go over probably features I didn't think to cover since I'm not an instructor. So that's something to take a look at as well. The next thing we're going to look at is Microsoft Sway. Microsoft Sway is a different format to PowerPoint. It's still a way to gather, format, and share information. The appearance is a little bit more dynamic and will let you make, it's a different style of presentation, but it's still somewhat similar to PowerPoint. I think they called it PowerPoint's cool hip cousin when I was reading about it. So, unlike some of the other things here, this one doesn't have any desktop app. You just get to it through that waffle. So, like we saw before, again, here's how you get to Sway. The hub, click on the 365 link, the waffle, and select Sway. It may not be in this spot, depending on what apps you've used in the past. Let's see what that would look like if we did a Sway presentation. Here's a quick introduction to Sway. I am going to play about a 3-minute video for you that just goes over some uses of it from an instructor standpoint so that you can get an idea of some of the things.
So, what's the buzz about Sway? Well, you need to know it's entirely web-based, which means it's amazing for integrating online content in any of your presentations that you want to do. The best way to describe it, think about it as the hip, cool cousin of PowerPoint. There's a mobile app, it's collaborative, you can share, and it's awesome for anything with image-heavy content. So, let's show you how to use it. You need to go to your Microsoft Office home. It'll bring up all your apps, and you'll find that there's Sway. There it is. I use Sway all the time, so mine might look a little bit different to yours, but if you click on it, straight away, we're into the Sway. So if you've never done one before, you're going to have to create one to see this extra stuff down here. You can do a new one. You can start from a document, which means you can convert one of your boring PowerPoints to an awesome Sway. You'll find that it has analytics as well. I love analytics because it shows you how many people are looking at it, and it breaks it into some interesting information, which can be quite affronting as a teacher if you think your class has been using it. Now, there's lots of different ways to use Sway. School use it for notices, you can use it for presentation, and I've also started using it as a sort of online textbook. So here you go. This is my Commedia dell'arte work that I'm using with my Year 12s. So straight off, I've got lots of imagery in there. And I like its linear way of working because then students can work through them. What it does is it links to assessment statements, which takes them straight to NZQA. You can also keep them moving through, and we can work with deadlines. And this one takes them to a Word document, which has all their information that they need to know for their deadlines. This is all really useful stuff for kids to hold on to. Also, I can link to anything that's on YouTube, and it will play straight in this way, which is great for students who have been away or have forgotten about what we were doing in class. It's also rewindable learning, which is really useful. And I love the ability to put in audio. So I record myself in class, so you can simply replay. Commedia is such an original and really authentic form of comedy that that's really quite confronting to hear my voice. But you know what? It's great if students miss the class. We can also take them to web pages, or they can do online work together. And these are some incredible links to their OneNotes, and also for them to work as a collaborative team. We can also take them to any planning documents, and this one takes them to a document that they can actually work on themselves, where my students nominated which character they were doing and what base of mask they needed me to buy for them. So it keeps everything in a really useful place. I use Flipgrid with my students as well, but I won't cover that today. And then it allows them to do some plan work. Lots of stuff going on there, and lots of different imagery, which is quite exciting for the students to work with and have with them at all times. So it takes them through different work. I love Sway, and in the next coming tutorials, I'm going to show you how to use it and make it work for you in your classes.
So that's a basic on Sway from an instructor standpoint. Going back to how we get to Sway, This is what I set up for us. Just like before, first you start at the hub, then there's the hub, then you're going to click on your Office 365 link, so you'll open your email. There we go again. You'll click on your waffle menu in the upper left corner, and then you'll select Sway from your list of apps. The Sway page will come up. There it is again. And then the end. You can continue clicking through this if you want to see the steps again. It just loops, so you can do that. That's a really, really, really basic Sway. The back end of Sway looks like this. So this is what it looked like when I was designing it. There are different options you can do if you would like to add things. One thing I did notice when making this is that it has so many options that you can do and so many changes that you can make to customize it that the best thing to do is just play with it. The look can change a lot depending on the change you make. This is where I got my little picture flips. And then this is the end card. You can change this is the storyline, so this is just the way and the path you want it to follow. This is the design, where you can change the style. Oops, that's because I opened it. Oh, goodness. 1 second. There we go. There we go. All right, styles. What I'm talking about with the customizing is that even small changes, like changing it from vertical to horizontal, are going to change how it looks. Now, instead of scrolling down on it, you have to go slide to slide. Now, this isn't the way I wanted it to look, so clearly this didn't work for me and I had to figure out something else. But this gives you an idea of how customizable it is and how much you'll just want to play with it as you're building it so that it works exactly the way that you want it to. You can go back to editing. These are fun to play with. They'll change the entire look of your Sway. So again, very customizable. It's fun to play with, so I would recommend taking a look. It is similar to PowerPoint, but is an alternative that you could use if you just want to do something different that's a little more interactive or even a little more fun. I am. All right.
When that file is saved as a Sway, what is it? What kind of a file is it?
That is a good question. Let me go back here.
Because it doesn't run like a video, correct?
No.
It's more like a PowerPoint. Where
Correct.
You go through it.
Correct. It works here was the start page. So they come in like this. This is probably how many times that I looked through it, me personally. So, but you can see the analytics they've mentioned. I tried a couple of them. One nice thing is that they do have featured Sways. So if you aren't sure where to even start, this is one of the first things that I looked at because Sway was new to me before doing this. So this is a pre-made Sway that someone put out there for anyone to look at and go through. Probably not the most up to date since it was from 2017, but again, it just goes through the layouts, your uses. It's a lot more in-depth than anything I can do here today, but it was very cool to go through and see what options you had. But that's the file type. You can do a share link for it if you need to, or you can pin it, or you can open it. There's a lot of options. The next thing I am going to have us take a look at is Microsoft Forms. Most of you have probably seen at least one form using Microsoft Forms. I know there have been a few that have been sent out to sign up or register for certain things here at the college, things like that. So forms are over here. Forms are very straightforward. It's a form. You can also do a quiz. I hadn't looked into that as much. That's going to be something that an instructor would probably use a lot more than, say, an administrator or a student even, if they wanted to do something like this. I found it very easy to use. So all you have to do is click on New Form, and then you can call it what you want. From there, all you have to do is start adding. You have options, ratings, you can do a choice. And you can keep adding as many as you need. As you see, I gotta work on my typing just a little bit. All right. And then you can change it if you would like it to have multiple answers, so they can choose more than one. You can decide if you want to make it required. And then if you want just a test entry box, you can do that as well. You can let them do long answer or short answer. Again, make it required or not required. And then from there, you can also change the way it looks. For example, here is a techie background. You can see now how it looks here. And when you're done, once people have started replying to it, you can actually see the feedback over here. It'll break it down for you, so you can see at a glance exactly what your answers are. You can see how many responses, you can see who's responding, and if you need to send this information anywhere, you can download it as an Excel spreadsheet, and then attach it and send it out wherever you need it to go. And Forms is fairly straightforward. You just do that and make exactly what you want. All right. One other nice thing you can do for Forms that I'm going to switch back to OneNote on is you can insert a form directly into your OneNote. So now, if we're looking at this notebook, the form is right there. And people who have access to this notebook can answer your form. And again, it'll show you the results. It'll show you who's answered, all the same information directly in your OneNote. One thing with OneNote I did want to point out, going back to that real quick, is the difference between 2016 and the app. Just so you can see how different they do look. I've been working on the web so far. Everything has been done on the web, which means you can do it anywhere you have internet. The desktop app looks very similar. So as you can see, we have the same options here. We've got the same items. You can see how it's updated. All the things I inserted from the web are now here in the app, and I didn't have to do anything other than pull it up. 2016, you'll see the difference here. It does not look the same. It functions exactly the same. I'm not going to go into detail on this one because it's going to go away at some point. They're shifting away from it as they improve the Microsoft apps. So, but I wanted you guys to be able to see the difference here between the two.
Is there a way to quickly transport all of your content from 2016 to the web?
You don't need to. All you need to do is open the notebook, and it'll be there automatically. So, for example, my notebook is the work notebook right now. I can open a different, it gives me errors again because it's a separate application like Word and Excel and everything. But you can go in and open your notebooks this way. Like this is my regular notebook for SCC, and it'll load it in here. And you can see the different options. That's all you need to do.
So all the content that we put in 2016 is already saved in the cloud?
Yep, it's its own file.
So if you go into OneNote, the app, and open up a OneNote 2016 notebook, it'll just show up there.
Yep, if you open up, so if I made a notebook here, like a brand new notebook, add notebook. It saves everything to OneDrive. I'm not going over OneDrive today, but your notebook file itself is in OneDrive. Like this is the help desk notebook that we've been working on. Test notebook, here's the work notebook. So say you shifted computers or had something happen where you couldn't get to your notebook. It is right here for you. So it's not lost, and this has all the content that's been in the others. So same thing goes again for here. You can see the notebooks here. This is the one that I've opened previously in the app. It's right here. So now I'm in the other app. Or going back to online, you can click here and it's over here as well. They do take some time to load, just as a warning. It'll sit like this depending on how much you have in the notebook for quite a while. And then once you see the tabs, if you go all the way down to the bottom one, it's gonna sit here and do this. That's normal. All right. The final thing I am gonna go over is Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is a team tool that you can use. It brings everything that I've talked about so far together in one place. This is what Teams looks like, again, on the web. They do have an application you can download. It doesn't seem to be on every single computer, otherwise I'd touch on it a little bit more. And I'm actually not sure if it needs administrative rights to download. But if you do want an app, it still looks exactly like this. Nothing has changed with it. It's identical. And we can install it if you'd like. Just let the help desk know. Your team, as you can see, I have two. So I'm going to show you help desk as an example. It lets you see activity. So again, it's a team app for collaboration, chatting. These are chats you can have. Meetings can be run directly in Teams. This is a recorded meeting we have. I'm not gonna make it big, but my supervisor, Mary, that's her screen that she was showing us. So we could see her screen all together. She was working in OneNote, so we all had access to that, and we're able to make changes to our meeting notes as needed, add to them, highlight them. Anybody in the team could add items that they felt were important to talk about during the meetings. You can comment on things. As you see, there's comments here. You can also chat just like with Skype, if anyone uses Skype. You can chat that way directly in Teams as well. You can hold all your files in Teams. You can comment on updates that you may make to those files. We hold our knowledge base in here. So you can see everyone has access to the things that we would look at or need to know for help desk processes. It's searchable. So if you wanted to find an item, all you have to do is search for it and click on your files. And then I set up a spreadsheet because some of the instructors, some of you come into us with different names than what we put on the ticket. And my memory is just not that good. So it's just really nice to help. We've got some of our other help desk items. You can do assignments. I wasn't able to look into this a whole lot because I'm not a teacher and I don't have any classes. You can also do things like this. We talked about OneNote. I can put it right here. This is the part I mentioned taking a second to load. Again, this is normal. But once it's in here, it'll function just like the OneNote that I had showed you in the application. You can add just the same, it'll update just the same, it'll save just the same. The only difference is it's all in one spot. There it goes. And there is my OneNote. To get a team site, you'd have to request one. So if you have a team that would like one, again, just let the help desk know, and we can work with you to create a team. And then from there, you can do exactly what I have just shown you. It's not showing me, oh, there we go, calendar. You can also see your calendar, just like in Outlook. I think the only thing this doesn't do is email. So as you can see, I have a meeting that'll be starting soon. And then if you go into your files, you can do files directly in here as well. You can upload them. The app lets you create the files directly in Teams. So you'd have an option along the top that would be add new, and you could pick from Word or Excel or PowerPoint. And then again, just work directly in Teams. Or you can upload existing documents that you already have. So that's a very quick overview of Teams. It does a lot. It does a lot of things and puts a lot of things all in one place.
I have a silly question. But once you do something, it automatically saves things, correct? You don't have to push the save button anywhere.
No, you can see the save status. So let me come back over here real quick. You can see the save status. Let me make an edit here. At some point it shows up here that it's saved and syncing.
Gotcha.
So you can see the status. And then if you move over to, so you can see up here it says saved. I just made a change in the app on the desktop. Now I'm back on the web and it's right here. So you don't have to do anything. I didn't show it today because it's looks different enough that I think it should have its own spot, but it also has a phone app that you can download. So you can do notes on the go. I use it for my own personal to-do lists, calendars, things like that. And that updates as well. So any change you make on the phone will show up on your computer and vice versa. Let's see. That, I believe, is the end of my presentation. Are there any other questions anyone has?
If someone wants more training on Teams, would they just need to contact you guys and set up a time to sit down and go over how it could work with a particular class?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, you would just let us know. We can sit down with you one-on-one. If you have specific questions or an idea of what you're wanting it to do, let us know and we can see if we can get it to do exactly that. One of the great things about all of these apps so far is how customizable they are. So if you want to use it for class assignments, to track those, you can do that. If you would like to use it to put documents and check marks and other notes about students, you can do that. it is very, very customizable to how any one person would like to use it. And that is all I've got. If anyone else has any other questions you think of after the fact, shoot help desk an email and we can either answer them that way or work one-on-one with you for it. All right, I believe Chris is next, and so I will let him have this computer.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So if you want to, for example, sync your calendar to OneNote, can you do that or not? Really?
You cannot do it directly, like it's not the same way you can in Outlook where you'd add something and update it. I don't have the example here because it's on my personal one, but you can put an image in there. So I have an image of a calendar for each and every month that I use, and then I just use the draw feature or the text feature because they overlap to just put notes, tasks, things, just like you would on a calendar. So it's a little bit more involved, but you can use it as a calendar as well. I do that, so. All right.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah.
If you guys want to stretch or something, feel free. We're going to get ready here in a second. As I see the one I want.
I'm actually gonna go because I do actually have a meeting. That was not a pretend meeting.
Finish it out too, because
Got what you needed, I understand. Well, hello, I'm Chris Cummins. I'm the Director of Instructional Design here at the college. And today I'm going to talk about Lifesize and Zoom and what the similarities are and what the differences are. I like to put this slide up first and foremost because I think this is a good flow chart of what the difference is in general between web conferencing, teleconferencing, and streaming services. So what exactly are you in need of, kind of thing. Okay, so take a look at that. Video conference, oh, we've got that enabled. The video conference could be another definition of teleconferencing. I'm kind of old school, so I refer to it as such. The webinar could be referred to as web conferencing, which is the newer term that people are more familiar with. And live broadcasting might be a YouTube stream, or if you're hip, then you might know about, Twitch. They do a lot of stuff on Twitch that's all streams and stuff. There is some slight communication with the streaming option. A lot of streaming services will have a scrolling chat feature that'll just be going along the side there. And same thing for the webinar. The web conferencing apps that I've seen usually have a chat feature built into them. And then the Lifesize equipment that we have for our video conferencing services has no chat feature on the boxes, but I think there is a chat feature within the app itself. So I've got a red light, and that's all I wanted to show you on that one. So bear with me while I switch over to this other one, which is, just this guy. Okay. Is this working now? All right. So today we'll talk about Lifesize and Zoom, and we'll stick with those two. The college actually has more than those two options. You may have stumbled across Skype for Business when you look through your apps. It's another one of those waffle programs too that Amy was talking about earlier. They all do just about the same thing for the most part. There's pros and cons in both. That flowchart was a good example of determining which one you'd want to use in your particular scenario. And you may ask yourself, how do I get these? I want to try them out. What's the difference between Lifesize and Zoom? What are the steps in order for me to get these? So we'll go through Lifesize first here. Did that just, okay, so here's a little video I made earlier. The Lifesize app can be downloaded from the, did it pause? Please pause. There it goes. Okay, so the Lifesize app can be downloaded from the waffle, like I said. Actually, the download is not what I meant to say. The sign-in and creation of the account is where you would go. So you go to the hub, you click on your mail, head over to the waffle, and it's up here in the corner. And come on, Mr. Mousy, get going. There it goes. You're just going to click on it any second there. Hey, there it is. And it actually is listed underneath all apps. You have to scroll down to the bottom to get to the other section. And it's listed under there. I probably have more apps than most people, but Lifesize Cloud is where you would go. And you would put in your SEC Azure login, the letter, number, email address, not your letter email address. And once you've done that, you've got an account. And then, what are you doing?
It's not there.
Your Lifesize waffle is not there?
Canvas, Gale, SEC Adobe. It's another.
Oh, it's everybody's? You know, this is very new, and I'm in the beta group of this, so it may not be implemented yet.
It's not.
Okay, well,
On the bottom of the
that will be the steps in order to create an account and get added.
same way.
So just like I showed you in what the video was doing in the background there. Waffle.
We have 250 licenses, so we have to add people one at a time that want to use them, so.
For those that are listening on the stream, we have 250 licenses, 253 licenses to be exact. And we will give those out to anybody that requests them. There will be a process in place. We'll start with the help desk, send a help desk ticket to get that process started. And then when you get to the part where you want training, you can contact me. And the other one that we're going to do is Zoom. Zoom is a little bit different. Zoom, you go to the website, you go to zoom.us, and you click on the big sign up, it's free button. And this is going to be your, I use my normal email account on this one. This is ccummins@southeast.edu. You click sign up, and it creates an account in the background. Actually, when I did this, I hit the sign up button and I was like, hey, reCAPTCHA, what's that? So I scrolled down to the bottom and I was like, I don't see a reCAPTCHA thing anywhere. So oh, there's a sign up button, I'll click it again. Guess what happened? It did exactly what it was supposed to do at that point. It signed me up for an account. I already had one, whatever, it's okay. When you go to Zoom though, you'll use your email address just like we had the letter email address. And then if you don't know your password, don't worry about it. There's a password reset option right below where you can enter in your password. You create your own password. These are not connected to your SEC accounts. You're not using your SEC password. You're creating a new one, okay? So this one's on a loop, so it's just going to keep showing me how I didn't know where the capture option was on that. And then there was this guy. Okay, so I was like, how do I use this thing? Oh, these are really small. I don't. You might be able to see these on the stream better, but I got a picture of Lewis and Clark here. They're searching, where do I go use this? And this guy, we'll call him Lewis, he says, I should have stayed home and just conferenced in. That would have been easier. So he didn't have to go all the way across the United States. And this guy's just like, hey, where's the Lifesize room at? That would be Clark, by the way. And then she's pointing exactly where you can find those rooms at on the hub. And so if you go to the hub, and actually, I'll just go back one. On the right-hand side, there's a, right below your bookmarks, the box below that is the directories box. And within there, there is a SCC Lifesize Labs PDF document. And that just tells you what the rooms are, where they're located on each campus, the learning centers, Milford, Beatrice, and Lincoln, and continuing ed and ESQ. They're all listed in there. It's just the SCC Lifesize addresses. But it'll have their address to call the hockey puck directly. I commonly refer to these little hardware devices as a hockey puck. It's a little bit bigger than a hockey puck, but people like that terminology. But that will be a Lifesize hardware room that we're talking about within these SCC Lifesize labs. Okay? These are physical rooms located throughout the campuses. Okay, so that's where you would go to locate those. As far as Zoom goes, since it's a web app, you can use that anywhere. You don't have to be in a specific location. It can be used from your office. It can be used from, it can be used in a Lifesize room if you wanted to. Wouldn't be the best scenario, but they have more flexibility as far as the location of where you can use them because it's an app. With that being said, Lifesize also has an app, and it also has a lot of flexibility. This is going to be an argument about which is better, 6 is 1 or half a dozen. They're almost identical. This stuff is the only main difference with Lifesize and Zoom in this scenario is that there's a physical room for the Lifesize equipment. Now there's some back-end stuff that is a little bit different. Where your recording ends up is one of the main differences. Lifesize has a web page that you would gain access to once you've signed up for your account. And you would see a list of all your videos, kind of like a YouTube page kind of thing of your channel. And you'd be able to link that video to your Canvas class if you wanted. It would be a hyperlink. It wouldn't be a direct, it wouldn't be a download and upload. So it would be linked to the class. The Lifesize version is a little different. We have the ability to connect, or I should say Zoom is a little different. I said Lifesize. Zoom is a little different in that the way it records is connected directly to Canvas. So, and Kaltura. So the Zoom videos show up in your Kaltura library after it's been configured correctly, okay? So it's a little bit different. A lot of people who teach from the Lifesize classes are comfortable coming over and hitting the record button and then going over to their Canvas shell later on and linking that video for the day if that was their plan. They get shown that during the training part of the exercise when we have decided, well, not me in particular, but when the college decides, hey, you're going to be teaching from Lifesize, there's, or you're going to be teaching distance learning. We won't even say it's Lifesize. We'll say distance learning. Can you contact Chris Cummins over at Instructional Design and figure out which would be the best scenario? Are you going to use Zoom? Are you going to use Lifesize? Are you teaching from a Lifesize classroom? Are you not teaching from a Lifesize classroom? Go talk with him and he can work out which would be the best scenario for you as an instructor to use. For professionals, non-instructors, just our professional division that want to use one or the other, I suppose we have more licenses of Zoom, and if you were just going to do a quick one-on-one video meeting with another employee or something, Zoom, there again, it's 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. Zoom probably would be a little bit easier because they, as long as they have the app running, they would get a notification and they wouldn't necessarily have to have, I think it's just less steps overall if you just dial. You also get a personal meeting room when you use Zoom. When you use Lifesize, you'll get assigned a meeting, I think it is a meeting room is the same term. So you'll get assigned a number, and basically it's just like a phone number. You're getting assigned a specific number that's assigned to you so that when people call you, they call that specific number. So they're either calling a Zoom number or they're calling a Lifesize number, okay? Again, I'll talk about this. You can just download these at either one of these sites here. The Zoom download site and the Lifesize sites are listed there at the top. They have lots of apps. There's apps for iPhones and Android and iPads and Windows devices. For the SEC computers, they aren't blocked, so you should just be able to install them without having to send a help desk ticket. If it's not already installed, it might be installed on your machine already. Take a look and see. Any questions so far? I didn't realize that was going to be so small, but my email address is ccummins@southeast.edu, and I am at extension 2865 if you want to contact me directly. I like talking about video, so while it may seem weird that I'm keeping you on the phone about your one question, don't be alarmed. I'm just having a good time. Any questions in the room? Okay. Well, we've already got students. Wait, that was it. You had your chance. Cutoff is over. Yes.
If we wanted to practice,
Oh, yeah.
we could call you and set up an appointment to practice, so we could be more proficient instead of bumbling around in front of our folks.
Yes, you could do that. Yes, we could do practices. You can practice with other people within your division too, if
Anybody wanted to, but
yeah, there might be someone else
But
who's
you
like,
would be-
what? That was, how'd you do that, Becky? And then you go, oh, well, I know this little trick. And the student becomes the teacher. All right. If that's it, then I already see students gathering outside for the next 2 o'clock class. So I think that's it for now. There wasn't anybody after me, was there?
No, correct.
Okay. All right, take care.